Therapy Podcast, where art and wellness collide. Well, hi and welcome back to the Healthy Metal Hippie. It seems lately, I think it's especially as we come into a new year and we start planning, and I think we enter a time of reflection, that a lot of conversations have been coming up about regret and risk taking, and about how there are a few things that you regret having done them and many that you regret not doing, right? And it's got me thinking over the past bit with these conversations. I have seen a lot of people making like enormous changes in their life, in my friend groups, and people that I see online, and it's really impressive everything that they're doing. I think the thing that actually keeps coming up is, what does our heart really desire? What, when we get down into our soul, when we really dig deep down, what is it that our heart really wants? What do we really want out of life? I think that we have become so disconnected from what we want, what society wants from us, what our family wants for us, and what our actual desires and needs are in life. It makes me sad that we feel that we have to live up often to other people's expectations before we live up to our own expectations, which actually are usually much higher. Maybe they look slightly different, but they're usually much higher than the expectations that other people have placed upon us, which is pretty cool in a way too, right? But I think it comes back to that feeling of disconnect, that we've kind of cut ourselves off from our hearts and what they're trying to tell us every day. I know over the past few years, I have been guilty of that in some way or another too. I was recently looking at posts from a group that I'm part of, and some of these posts are they're quite old, but I was just kind of reviewing everything that had happened in the group and things like that. And I think about who I am now versus who I am, or who I was in 2019. A lot of these posts were from. It's like I'm a different person. And I think we all change, right? And we all grow and we all evolve. And hopefully it's that evolution into who you want to be and not away from who you want to be. It's probably actually quite subtle if somebody else was to look at it, but I see this enormous transformation. And the more I look at it, the more I feel proud of myself, the more it helps me connect where I was and where I am and where I'm going to in the future. And it's been quite eye-opening to look at that. I think this would be the same if you read old journals and those sorts of things too. I did actually decide to just end a journal that I had been working on for the past 4 years. Even though it's not fully written, I've decided I'm starting a new one because I'm starting a new chapter of life. This one has been fully closed, and it's time that I start a new book, right? That's the way it goes in the world, right? You start a new book. I've noticed it's not just me, which in some ways is quite reassuring that it's not just me, but we hold ourselves back, okay? We don't post the things that we want to post. For example, we don't say the things that we really want to say. We don't push ourselves in our careers the way that we want to push ourselves. I think for myself, at least, there's been a lot of just holding back and not stepping into that, not listening to the heart, not letting that voice come out, not letting yourself connect. And though I sit here and look at these 5, 6, 7 years that have passed, I see that there's progress, and I still see that there's many things to work on and many things to improve, right? But we have a fear of, what will other people think of us? What will we think of us? What will you think of yourself? I mean, generally, you'll think yay, I'm proud of myself if you do the things that you want to do. But we fear that judgment of our colleagues or our friends or our family, or you fear that, oh, I don't want to look like too much, or I don't want to look this way, or I don't want to appear that way. And I think when we can start to talk ourselves out of that fear and push ourselves over the fence about it, that's when we can start to find the strength in it. We can start to get reconnected into our spiritual centers. We can start to understand what we actually want from ourselves and from our lives and what we expect of the people that we keep in our lives. And we can start to put the pieces together of how to make that work. And it's not that, it all has to just work for me, but in a way that everything flows for you and the people around you that you love and care about. But the more connection you have with yourself in these things, the more strength you'll find in it. And the easier it's going to be to allow yourself to keep pushing down that track, on that path that you want to be on. And it's so important that you allow yourself to step out. You allow yourself to just be yourself and truly just stop apologizing for being you. Whether you are just normal, I say normal like a cute little normal happy box, or you're like a little bit not normal. Realistically, nobody's normal. Normal's not real. I don't believe in normal. We're all weird in our own ways, right? And I was actually telling somebody, I might have even talked about it on the podcast too, but getting my little symbols and stuff tattooed on my, I don't know if you can see them, but getting tattooed on my hands and wrists over this last year, it was such a step for me, for something I wanted to do for ages, but it was such a step for me in reclaiming my power and finding my strength and almost using them as protection symbols for myself. It doesn't have to mean that. Here you go. It doesn't have to mean that for other people, but that's what they mean to me. It's protection and it's reassurance of self. And you don't have to get tattooed, but I found for myself so much tremendous strength in having these things done. It's helped be my constant reminder of who I am and the path I'm taking forward. I want to remind you that listening to your heart and allowing yourself to reflect and make space for that, it's a really healthy thing and it's a really important thing. You are allowed to have wants, you are allowed to have dreams, you are allowed to express it or not express it, and you're allowed to go for it or just keep them as dreams. It's up to you, but finding that acceptance within yourself is the absolute way forward. I can't say how to do it because I think how is different for everybody. I know for me, I'm still on a journey. I think we're always on a journey, no matter what. We're always on a little path, on a little journey, whatever the next thing may be, because even if we are the ones that don't like change and we don't like, whatever, change happens regardless, right? And, and you change and life changes regardless of what you say that you want. So there's no stopping it. But for me, a lot of it has been that reflection time. I've been really working hard to carve space to do more time reflecting on what my deeper values are, what resonates with me, what makes me feel connected to myself and my surroundings. And these things are just so incredibly important to do. What I have noticed is that when I am not taking that space to go and try new things or let myself sit and be with the feelings and reflect and understand myself and understand the world a little bit more, I try. I do the best I can. But when I'm not doing those things, I find that's where my life feels a little bit chaotic. And so it is that permission again to rest and reflect and allow your mind to soar and to find yourself in sometimes that chaos that lives like the noise around your head. you kind of, you live a little bit in that chaos. And when you're doing the reflection, you can just let it like slide away a little bit, or you can compact it and throw some of it out, use your little recycling bin. And I think that's the way that we start to move on our paths to what is right and what feels right, and how we grab the life that we want. So if you've been kind of living on that for somebody else's expectations, for somebody else's wishes and dreams and everything else, it's okay to start living for yourself and to follow your heart and listen to the places that the soul guides you. Maybe, I mean, it's often not something that you could do overnight, and you don't have to, but if you are listening, then that connection comes more easily to bring to you all the things that you want out of life. And so I hope that you will find different methods that work for you. For me, it's that writing reflection time. It's that quiet space. But it doesn't have to be that way for you. It could be anything, whatever you find is your space where you can gain clarity. So today, I say reflect. Are you getting out of life what your heart wants? And are you taking steps to allow your heart to speak everything that it wants? I am super curious to know, and I'm sending you super lots of love. There are lots of other interviews that are coming up. I'm really excited to be recording some new things over the next few months with you guys, and I really appreciate you being here where I share all my thoughts and the journey that I'm on too. I love being with you and sharing this heart connection. So sending you lots of love for an amazing day. We'll see you soon. Bye. Thanks so much for joining us on the Healthy Metal Hippie podcast. For more ways to connect, go to www.healthymetalhippie.com.